And just let you know, this is going to be probably a 3 hour transmission. Um, it's not going to be boring. It's going to be full of stuff, including a teaching, a very powerful meditation and activation, and then sharing and some things to do after, some opportunities after, including what to do with this activation or initiation here, how to take it into your 2025 and to the immediate future. So there's a lot, but this is how I like to work. Just give everything, and it's kind of knowledge bombed sometimes, but it's powerful, and I invite you to make this an experiential experience, um, by not just listening with your mind, but opening your heart, receiving it, and feeling sensations in your body, and that means inspiration, lightness that you may feel from feeling strong resonance or recognition, or that's me, or what else? Um, yeah, revelation, or um, inner triggers, things I may say are designed to trigger you, in fact. And so you may feel that in your body, and that's very, very welcome here with the shadow keys. Um, we welcome triggers. We see them as portals, or opportunities into healing and to deeper self-acceptance and therefore self-love and integration, becoming more whole. So they're definitely wormholes, the shadows and the triggers, just as much as remembering the light and our potential and coming in there. So we see the light, but we also accept and integrate the dark as well. And yeah, recognize ourselves as both, as all, as a totality. All right. With that, I'm going to jump in and introduce this. So, so this is what you're here for. The first of these sessions in the year. And I'm going to introduce myself for those who don't know me. And many of you listening to this will not know me and may have just discovered the shadow keys. So I'm going to just introduce myself. I've been working on the shadow keys for the past few years now, maybe a year and a half publicly, but receiving it and exploring it and discovering it for 3 years or so total, or 2.5, 3 years. And it's been part of my own awakening journey as a shaman, as a healer, as a seeker, primarily because I began as a seeker when I had my spiritual awakening in 2018. It was with like a mystical thunderbolt, and I do have the gate 51 of shock kind of experience where I suddenly realized I wasn't who I thought I was. I really shattered an ego identity and became something far, far larger. That I didn't know what I was. I knew it was powerful what I became in that moment, and what I connected to my soul, and that's what it was. It was a real coming out of ego identity and connection to a soul, a bigger identity. And this identity was very powerful and curious, and I became that overnight, and that changed me drastically from a partier, a pleasure seeker, happy-go-lucky guy who was very externally focused, focusing on pleasure and having the most fun possible, basically through connection. But I wasn't a deep person, really. I didn't question life. I didn't question who I was or what reality was. I had followed the status quo. I was a conformist. I didn't take big risks. It took me, you know, many, many years to even travel on my own, like when I was 27, around the Saturn return. But overnight, I changed instantly and I became very curious. I became a knowledge seeker and I was very hungry for information. And I went on a 4 year journey, I would say, of trying to understand reality, both science, spirituality. I opened to spirituality for the first time. And I had many other mystical experiences, including channeling experiences, awakening and lighting experiences, most of them very powerful, profound, and I'd say positive in nature and vibration. But some also hellish. And I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, I'll say this one now. Actually, the 4 years culminated in me really finding out a deeper layer of reality. And that was, I guess, the possibility or the potential hell and experiencing that through my own psyche. and through my own experience after a very sudden and brutal Kundalini awakening. And this Kundalini awakening, happened in a matter of days, rising up my spine and activating my pineal gland. And I was in my own version of hell for several months, and it was like a bad acid trip. I didn't take any psychedelics at all. This was all a natural experience, although I wasn't in 3D. I wasn't here in my body anymore. I was in my body, but I wasn't here having a 3D experience. Every day was completely different. It was very chaotic, very terrifying, and I was deeply alone in it. No one else I could trust. And what was interesting was that, I was experiencing what's known in shamanism as, it's not actually known as shamanism, but scientists and objective reality would call it psychosis, but it's actually part of shamanic culture and it's part of a dissolution of identity. And but because you don't have that identity structure, you're just open to the total field of information and reality flooding you. And I had a lot of darkness within, and that's what I was living. And the darkness was from the soul, from the past. And so I was flooded with that and stuck in it for many, many months. And it was very, very scary. And it's not talked about a lot how terrifying and deeply, deeply challenging awakening can be. Often there's a big focus on the light, but as a shaman, I know the dark and I've accepted that. That is part of my path. Trust me, I didn't want to accept it because I was always, pre-awakening, I was always happy-go-lucky in the light, and still am to a degree, a big degree. But I got to discover the other half of reality, the half that my psyche didn't allow me to see until that time, which was the dark. And out of the dark, I became very resilient, very strong, and I became now much more capable to take on life in its darker aspects and challenges. And for me as a healer, to be able to hold other people through their darkness and their challenges, no matter what they are, no matter how challenging, I've got the capacity to hold people through that now. Um, which for me is a gift. I love that. And the transmission of the shadow keys itself, that the second part came to me then, which was like I felt in the transmissions of human design and gene keys. And this is not saying anything against that, but there was a whole section that hadn't been received or transmitted yet about the depth of the dark. And I feel like in recognizing and transmitting about the dark and the depths of the shadow, people can really be seen in that and hopefully be held in that. So the hope is that the deeper work of the shadow keys will actually be a bigger container to hold people going through much more challenging or horrendous even or difficult times, and by letting them know that this is part of evolution and healing and growth and yeah, the soul's journey to enlightenment even. But the first part of the transmission actually came through Gene Key 24, my pearl, during silent meditation. And so I was on retreat, and during the sixth day I just received this. Okay, we have the gene keys. What about the shadow keys? And this was to do with my fascination with the shadow. I'd done a lot of study with Carl Jung and a lot of fascination with the mind and understanding behavior and psychology. And so that's why the shadow keys really focuses on that. And so I received that. That was as a gift through my pearl. And what's interesting is that the shadow key, which is the opposite key, and I don't know if you guys know uh, human design, but I'm not going to go into it too much, but it's what's called the harmonic gate. So they're opposed. So 24 and 61 are opposites on the human design body graph. And so I experienced both as the main transmissions of shadow keys. There's been more since. But since this time, I've dedicated myself to the shadow keys and, supporting people through their pain and confusion of awakening. I have the 51 in my conscious Mercury, and I really see that 51 in the conscious Mercury as being what we're here to transmit and support people through. It's part of our message for the world. And that's helped for me. It's really helping people with awakening and navigate the confusion of awakening, because in awakening, we're transcending identity all the time. We're always moving out of a smaller self and becoming more of our higher self, our true self, our soul self. And it's very confusing we're letting old parts die and expanding into more of who we are, especially if we're doing it rapidly, as I did it. I did it very, very fast. And so I want people to do it far safer than I did it. And so I want people to have a nicer time with awakening than I have had. Hmm. Yeah, maybe we'll stop there and see if anyone's got any questions about who I am and what I'm about and what the shadow key is. Sure, Katerina, Kasha. That's
No, you said really in a very impressive manner about your experience of hell on earth. But you said that you wrote that you actually experienced also heaven on earth.
yes.
And I have in human design my cross of incarnation is a cross of Eden. So it's really yeah. Could you also expand on this subject
Mm,
because it's very
I'd love to. It's a great question. So heaven and earth was my gateway into a spiritual reality. I never experienced anything like that. I guess part of me was always seeking the most or the most pleasurable thing because that was part of my ego identity as the Enneagram Type 7. It was always seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. But I guess it culminated in a genuine heaven and earth experience. And for me, the truth is, it was like the truth of who I am, everything that I hold dearly manifested. So it was the truth of who I am, everything that I hold precious, and in love, it was manifested around me, and I could experience everything as love, as perfect. It was perfect. There wasn't a moment out of place. Everything was perfect constantly. But it didn't stay perfect. Like it was perfect, and then it would drop to near perfect. But when I listened to myself, I could always bring it back to perfect. And so that meant leaving a situation, say if I was on a dance floor, which I was, enjoying so much of the stimulus and the music and the people, and it was perfect. And I was in heaven. It was literally the feeling of divine perfection or heaven. Everything I loved, I was receiving in that moment. The human connection, the vibrations of the great music, the stimulus of the environment, everything was perfect. But at a certain point, that would get just a little less than perfect. And most people would say, why would you leave? Because it's still amazing, right? But I listened to myself. And so listening to myself was my own guide. It was my own intuition and my own truth, taking me to a lesson, I guess, to showing me that perfection lies in following your truth. And in doing that, I walked away from the dance floor in that moment and I found perfection in a small group of people having a conversation. And I would sit there for 20 minutes talking with these complete strangers, but having a perfect experience of joyful connection, learning, sharing. And again, everything that I loved about life and humanity, I was receiving. But it was a spiritual experience. But soon as that went less than perfect, I politely left the conversation and I continued to move, trusting my inner intuition that it was time to move on. And so what I would say was that it was divine attunement to the flow of perfection. It wasn't static, it wasn't in the moment. It was in the moment, but it wasn't just there in every place. It was in listening to myself and trusting the flow. So that's how I experienced it. And that happened for several hours. Yeah.
that's really beautiful. I
Yeah.
just uh, ask another follow-up question. Can you relate it also to the that experience of the shadow key of psychosis? Because I think that it relates really a lot. Like because I'm also I don't have this 61 key in my profile, but I believe that this experience of heaven on earth relates how somehow into like in psychosis. It's as you said, everything is like full only potential. I mean, nothing is like incarnated and manifested.
Hmm.
And can you sweep it like the experience of heaven on earth is like everything you observe is like manifested in the perfect timing in a perfect form. Is can do I mean I don't know. I'm asking about your experience because I didn't have this experience.
Mm. Well, I think you've articulated it perfectly. That I've never thought about it like you have, but I don't want to add anything to that. I think that's a
Okay.
nice
No, no,
uh,
no.
perception of it.
No,
Um,
okay.
yeah, I think that's good.
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
Katya, you have something to add?
I have the 61 in my evolution, and just when you said that, Kasha, it is what I experienced from time to time. So it's
Oh, thank
exactly,
you
I mean,
for sharing.
it's like a perfect flow where it also resonates what just Alex said, that yes, that I had it, like I leave places in the right moment and come in the next, then I stop the car, go have a walk. The walk was perfect timing because it was all frozen, and I took so many photos, and I just was submerged with that nature. I was doing photos and experienced like this oneness of everything. And then when I got back to the car, it started defrosting and the rain came in. So it's like, it's also this timing frame. And then, so it's not really like I mean, when you just said it's like it's perfect time and the perfect form, it really resonated. So I have never put it into the heaven on earth state, but that is not relevant because my mind is shut off when I experience this. So it's no mind sensation, it's only being. And
Well,
so
thank you
I
for
can't.
sharing that. Thank you.
Mm. Beautiful. Well, there's something to be said about the ego in here and how that interferes with perfection and presence. And that's something to keep in mind. I'm going to move on to the next slide now and maybe riff a little bit. I had a new transmission come through, different from yesterday, about something I want to talk about dreaming. So let's move on. So this is just a little introduction to the Shadow Key 41, Gene Key 41, Gate 41. And I'm calling it the Key of Dreaming. It's the beginning, the before manifestation. It really is before manifestation. 41 is not about manifestation at all. It's also called the Gate of Contraction, which is so it's about being inward. And it's situated here in the Motivation Center, which I call it, also known as the Root Center in human design. It's around impulse and initiative and obviously motivation. Here is what drives us. So here I just have general shadows. Here is something I'm offering, which is we can come from fear, but it could also be shame or anger. In other words, the past, our conditioning. Or we can come from love, which is I'm relating to truth, authenticity, our true nature. So we got these two places which are general that we can come from. And fear driven can also be thought as the ego, coming from ego, right? Um, yeah, let's talk about this little quote. It was just inspiring to me. It's taken on a new meaning for me today as I really thought about the words here. So if a little dreaming is dangerous, the cure for it is not to dream less, but to dream more, to dream all the time. So that's from Marcel Proust, a famous author, right? And I've not read him, but I've came across many of his quotes and I love almost all of them. Uh, so maybe I should read his books, but they seem quite dense. But I love these quotes. And what struck me here today was dreaming is dangerous. And I really felt that today, that dreaming is fucking dangerous. It's a genuine threat to the ego because dreaming is always pushing us beyond who we are right now. It's expansive. It's saying dreams are possible and that we should pursue them and that we should go out there and manifest it, go get it, like make it happen. And that's an immediate threat to the ego that needs that space. Instinct is for survival, security, and often keeping the status quo, keeping things the same, reliable, predictable, so that it feels safe and stable. So the ego doesn't actually like dreaming that much. What it dreams of, and you can think about this, is security and safety quite often. Things that will make it feel secure and safe. And so quite often people will confuse the dreams of their heart and soul with the ego's dreams, which are for security and safety. And that's a shame, really, because what they'll do is manifest something very conformist, something very conventional, maybe what their parents did, or maybe what society expects, because they end up dreaming dreams that are not theirs. They're just what makes them feel safe, right? They don't push themselves out the comfort zone and liberate themselves from the illusion of fear and insecurity, which are dreams. You know, my idea of a dream now is like, it's not so much the destination. That is just the catalyst or the fuel to extract who you are. It's a way to manifest your potential and form. It's a way of becoming who you're meant to be. You're fulfilling your purpose or your dharma, coming into that fullness or wholeness of who you are. And that's what dreams are really about. They're actually here to bring about your becoming and not just to get you some material outcome. It's not about the outcome, it's about that journey of becoming. Yeah. So that's where I'm at with that. That's what I feel. So, can anyone relate to this insecurity? Yeah, we'll have a little chat. Just one person for now, Katya.
I just thought on the Aborigines, and they talk about the dream time. So the whole life is the dream time. So it really resonates for me in the last part of the sentence, not to dream less, dreaming more, like dreaming in more. It's not meant to dream the same dream more, I guess. It's more like the whole dream, the holistic one, which is including everything and
Mm.
everyone. So the Aborigines have a very beautiful way of seeing life
Very
as
different.
a.
Very different. Yeah, incredibly different. And thank you for bringing that. I am in Aboriginal land right now, so I want to thank the custodians of this beautiful place that I have the pleasure of dreaming on and working on. It's really profound to be here, and it's been so awakening and enriching for me to discover myself and find myself on this land. This is where all my awakening happened on Australian land, despite being from small town UK in Glasgow. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for that contribution. Right, we're going to move on. So, human design. So, if you haven't guessed it, Shadow Keys is definitely founded on human design, probably primarily, actually. I probably draw most influence from human design for this transmission, but also Gene Keys, more as Gene Keys is more inspirational for me. It's aspirational. And Richard, as a teacher, has taught me so much. And I learned so much about presentation, structure, and simplicity. He teaches me a lot about that. But in terms of technical foundational work and transmission, it's mostly based on human design, actually. And obviously, this is the work of the Enneagram, and we'll come to that as well. But all you need to know right now is that what's been associated here is Cherokee 41 with Enneagram number 4. That's the most powerful connection that I've made here. It's also connected to Enneagram 7, but we'll get to that. So here's a little bit more about shadow and light. So I've just focused on two words here that I want to help us come into the body and open to this new transmission of the 41. So what I want to focus on today is the shadow of longing. And I invite you all to, again, just drop into the bodies. And maybe we'll take this moment to have a quick attunement. So there's 7 of us here today live. Welcome, everyone. You're so welcome here. I'm inviting you to make this an experiential experience, a somatic experience. So you're not just listening with your head, but you're listening with your heart, your gut, and then your entire being is receiving the words. Just open your field and see if you're willing to just open your heart and trust the moment and the forces that brought you here, your own instincts, your own intuitions. And see if you can ask yourself, do you want to be here fully to receive this? Yeah. Do you want to be here to fully receive this transmission? And it's okay if you do not. You'll still receive through listening and some experiential experience, but some of you may want to go have a deeper experience, and that is always possible here. It is my intention often to help people connect to soul and the deeper soul truths of why they're here. And that's possible, and it happened last time, where you can actually receive a dream or a truth, a revelation about who you are and why you're here through this session. And so opening to that potential if you want, if you desire that. Yeah. Yeah, my truth is that in the past, that when I've went to different courses and listened, that I noticed that in past tense, that I eventually noticed that I was doing so half-heartedly. I was trying to get something from it, and I wasn't truly receiving from it. And sometimes when I got to something, I tuned out as well, and I wasn't just open to the full experience of it. And now what I invite is people to just drop in and fully open to receive. And that way the most magic could manifest, I'd say. But trust yourself first and foremost. So take a few deep breaths. Coming into the body, feeling the connection to your own being, to your own center, your own heart and soul, wherever you feel that in the body. But feel the gravity of being here and now, being present, being in physical form, the sounds around you. Maybe there's smells. Pay attention to the sensations in the physical body. What's running through you? Is there any pressures, pains, tightness, tingling, heat, cold? Just noticing everything, but from a place of non-judgment, welcoming everything here. Pleasure and pain, shadow and light, all that you are is welcome. And see if you can relax just a little bit more. Sink into the form. Know that you're here. Know that you're safe. And that you're welcome, body, mind, and spirit and soul. All of you is welcome here. And that you're safe. And you can be present here. To what's emerging, and that you're sovereign and can make your own choices about what feels right for you. So feeling the sensations, what's alive in the body, and welcoming them all. I'm going to start reading a little bit of the summary of what I thought about when I was thinking about the key of dreaming here. And the shadow that I came up with was longing. And it's not just a shadow, there's a lot of light here in longing for something. It's very much the fuel for manifestation. It's the fuel for our dream. It's the impetus for moving out of the dream state and into the seeking, the pursuing of the dream. So there's a lot of energy, but there's also a lot of anxiety, pain, restlessness, and longing. To long for something, and if you could let these words wash through you, to long for something is to yearn and ache for that which we believe we lack and do not have hope of having. So in the shadow of longing, there's no hope in it, actually. There's just the ache of not having it, but desiring it. That's the shadow. And sometimes this longing or yearning can be lifetimes and lifetimes. It's not necessarily just from this lifetime. It can be it could be ancestral longing. Longing for belonging is a strong one, for example, and that's related to the Enneagram Type 4. Could they have the belief that I don't belong, an abandonment wound? So quite often, the longings are in some way to manifest belonging because we desire to belong. We all desire to belong. And so just notice in your body as those words were received, was there any activation? Did anyone feel anything in their body and notice anything come up for them? I'm going to ask someone to share if that's true. Put your hand up if something came up for you as you felt about the word longing.
I have been lots in this stage of longing in my life. So at the moment, nothing came up, which is also very beautiful because that means I have transformed something in me. And this really, I'm grateful for this. And I also, but you will come to the light anyway. So I just remember that desire is a shadow state in the gene keys. So I can relate to desire as well as a shadow state, which is also this sort of pulling feeling in the body. Like it's like a pulling, strong pulling feeling towards something which is lacking. It's a feel of huge lack, and it's a need to get it. It's almost like a survival need. How I felt it, and very deeply in my body, like it's an aching in the front of my body and also in the belly area. So I know that feeling very well, but it didn't came up here now, so which is good. So thank you for this.
You're welcome. Yeah, beautiful. And awesome. Well, we'll move on to dreaming unless anyone else had anything come up. Kasia, sure.
Just a fascination. I've never had this feeling before, just today for the first time. But as you read it, I felt like a pressure just below my solar plexus. And it's actually very funny because right now I realize that I have this desire, the 13 gene key as my core wound. So I think there is a deep longing in me for peace and for safety, and exactly that's what you've been talking about. And I think that it like woke has awakened in me that kind of yearning for this kind of state, for peace and safety. Yes, very much. And I locate it in my body. I mean, I have never experienced it before.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. That's very powerful. And you're going to get a lot from this session, by the way, because the 41 is obviously connected to the 30, and that's very potent for this work. And yeah, there's going to be an invitation at the end for you to continue this work after. And you're probably going to be the prime person to validate the power of what we're going to go through, actually. So I may come back and talk to you. Okay. So we felt some activation in the body. And that's really what I love to do with the gene keys. That's what I've been doing for years now. And human design is like not just thinking about these, not just concepts to me, they're actually lived experiences and memories in the body. They actually awaken parts of me, dormant parts, hidden parts, pains and potentials as well, gifts and shadows. And I allow that all through, and it makes me become more of who I am and open and expand. Yeah, and discover latent gifts. Yeah, so here we're going to talk about the light of dreaming. So again, just allow to see if this inspires anything. So one of the core things that I brought through yesterday was around hope, and how hope is a big part of the 41 here, and is the thing that distinguishes the shadow from the light here. So if you feel the shadow of longing it can feel hopeless actually, just like I'm never going to get it, but I'm always going to want it. I'm never going to get it, but I'm always going to want it. And that can be very, very painful and a torment. And people can spend lives feeling that way. And it is painful, our lifetimes. So what dreaming has instilled in it is a seed of hope. You know, what I brought through yesterday, which I really loved, was like hope brings light into darkness. Hope gets a bad rap nowadays, like it's not real, it's intangible. Like, I don't hope I make shit happen, whatever. But hope is very pure. It's a light in the darkness. Imagine no hope, right? That's there's no potential there, no possibility in no hope, pure darkness. But with hope, there's a seed of light. And with that seed of light, there's possibility, there's potential for creation, there's potential for a different outcome. Now, with just one seed of light with hope. And so, what hope is an opening in the darkness, an opening of possibility, of potential. And the 41 is full of potential. It is the gate of, infinite potential of possibility. And so, this is what we're really opening up to: infinite possibility and potential. And that's really beyond dreaming. It's really beyond imagining. We don't know what's possible for us. And I'm sure you've known in your life, probably from the past, where you've manifested something and it was beyond your dreams or beyond your imagining, way better, way more unexpected. I for sure didn't know I was going to be living this life a few years ago, pursuing this. And like 5 years, 6 years ago, I didn't know I was to be a shaman, That just wasn't part of my field of possibility. And so what we're doing here is inviting, I'm going to read this now. To dream something is to allow desire, and desire is in its high vibration here. And I do think desire's got positive and negative. I see desire as a light thing too. To dream something is to allow desire, hope, and love to stimulate nothing into something, and something into genuine possibility. So that's the basic premise that I've shared here around dreaming. It's about creating a genuine possibility out of nothing. And it begins with imagination, dreaming, perhaps a vision. We're going to come to that. So here's where the Enneagram comes into it. And so this is my own addition to the already great systems of knowledge of human design and Gene Keys. I'm adding more complexity to it, but hopefully more depth. And, this really serves a different purpose. It's about getting really clear on shadows, really clear on what human design calls not self, because there's not a lot of information from what I've come across on like getting clear on the patterns of not self as they manifest through each of the keys. And here with the Enneagram makes it easier to see the patterns, because really there's only 9 patterns to do with the personality. And so Shadow Keys synthesizes the 64 gates by using Enneagram's 9 personality types. You've seen the symbol 1 to 9. There's 9 personality types, and within each of these 9 personality types, I've assigned each of them 8 gene keys. And for 1 to 8, there's 8 each, and there's 8 duplicate ones for 9, which is known as the master type, and they're in more of a repressed fashion. But here we're looking at Enneagram 4, which in Enneagram language is often known as the tragic romantic, the artists, because they're known as being highly creative. They are highly creative, when we're thinking about them personifying them as a person. I call them, rather than types, I call them parts, because I believe we're all of the Enneagram personality types. So I call them parts now, so that we can stop putting ourselves in little boxes of like, we are this personality type. You're not, because there's only 9 of them and you're unique. And so we limit our uniqueness when we start forcing ourselves into little identity boxes. And so what I hope to do in this work is really help people break out of those limited identities and expand into their uniqueness, their human design, their authenticity. And so other names for the Enneagram Part 4, the individualist or the original, because they're highly individualistic and focused on their needs and their focus of what they're here to do, their expression. They're very great at self-expression. Yeah, the artist. So the shadow here is the victim. The light here is the artist archetype, and the Siddhic, let's say, enlightened archetype here is the innocent. I'm gonna again share these with you, and the invitation is just to notice if you can see yourself in these, and it's okay if you don't. We don't force anything, but if you feel any of these patterns arise, the shadow ones, allow your awareness to allow. But we're going to focus on receiving from the gift, but just let the shadow one wash through you and activate what it needs to activate, because it will activate something. And we're going to move that energy throughout this session in a healing meditation, right? So wherever a shadow is activated, again, it's a wormhole, it's potential. It's also energy, which can be transmuted or alchemized. And so we want to invite that transformation process in. So that's why I read shadows, because it's just activating. All right, here we go. The victim, of course, is the victim to their own dreams and longings, where rather than being a precursor to a yet to be manifested reality, a definite aim or ambition, they become indulgent fantasies and escape from reality, a daydream or distraction. The fantasy is heaven, an intangible yet stimulating dreamland they believe they will never really experience in this life. Whilst current reality, when I say heaven there, I meant the dream of heaven or the idea of heaven rather than a reality. Whilst current reality is the prison they are stuck in and must accept. They can become bitter, resentful, and envious of others who may be living out their fantasy, and they may utter limiting beliefs like, it's never me, I never get what I want, I'm insignificant, or I'm invisible, or I don't belong. Believing life is unfair for them, but fortunate for others. If allowed to fester and die, these unmanifested dreams and longings may poison the soul within with feelings of resentment and regret about a life unlived, leaving behind embittered beliefs about how hard, random, or unjust life is. The victim never learns that dreams are not figments of imagination, but foreshadowings of potential futures and fuel for one's ambitions. Okay, so again, just allowing the stimulus of hearing these words. Now I'm going to read the artists. The artist, on the other hand, takes their longing and their dream and puts it at the center of their existence, into the core of their being, and almost becomes that which they long for in an effort to bring it forth from the non-physical realm of soul and to manifest it into the material worlds. The artist is utterly determined to make dreams a reality, and to do so is their craft, their artistry, and eventually their masterwork. To dream and to dream big is the ultimate risk, and to choose to make that dream a reality is a tremendous leap of faith. Like the fool in the tarot, the artist should begin such journeys with innocence and utter abandon, allowing their soul, their spirit, and their truth to guide them and emerge through them along the journey. There are no failures on such a journey, unless, of course, one subsides to fear and shame and does not begin, denying the heart and soul expression of that which it longs to express. Ultimately, the artist is all about the journey of self-expression and the alchemical process that true self-expression and artistry catalyzes within. So there's your typical artist, homie, right there. Sometimes struggling, other times full of life and energy, dips of the four experiences, melancholy from time to time, but it uses the melancholy for creative expression. It transmutes it, alchemizes it. It has to use its artistry and creativity to transform all the emotional swells and melancholy it feels. So that's part of this shadow key as well in the 41. And yeah, and just to say, like, the 41 is really part of the Enneagram 4. And why it helps knowing that is so that you can really digest quite easily the 9 Enneagram types and their their patterns and what they're about. And then it gives much greater context and understanding of the gene key within it or the shadow key within it. So knowing about Enneagram Type 4 and these three archetypes, you'll understand a lot more about the 41 than you did before. It'll hopefully paint a more detailed and vivid picture for you and hopefully make it come alive in you and recognize things of the 41 that you may have not recognized in your first run through of your contemplation of it. That's the hope here, and that's certainly what led me to create this work, is to help people like me who were struggling with certain keys to penetrate them or to open them. And so I decided to do a lot more reading and contemplation and discovery on them. And the Enneagram proved to be the key to unlock a whole new dimension for me of each of those keys. And so I hope it does the same for you. And so here, if you notice, this guy is a bit more optimistic than the previous ones. The innocent is looking up here. It's almost like a childlike gaze, and that really is, the fool is innocent, and innocence is really, you could call it a acidic expression of this key, pure innocence. And so that's how I feel about this beginning state, bringing innocence and that reckless abandon to beginning something. You don't know what's going to happen, but like a child, we're going to explore it anyway and enjoy every moment, hopefully, the ups and the downs. The innocent is the living manifestation of the dream. The reality is like the dream, yet it's real, and every moment is filled with beauty, awe, and wonder, pure potential and possibility for creativity and expression. Like a child, they wander through life fulfilling their wildest desires and creative impulses with no hesitation, just pure and utter glee and the joyousness of being in a human vessel as the creator. And that's pretty deep. The feelings, the sensations, the smells, the colors, the sounds, the patterns. Life is already a masterpiece or perfect, and they are utterly grateful to have been given a paintbrush. They also know consciously or unconsciously that they themselves are a paintbrush, a vessel for God, for inspiration, for life force, and the divine creative spark to express itself through them. And they are grateful for that too. Yes, gratitude is a very important part of this as well. Being grateful for what is and what's coming through you and how life is manifesting through you. They allow that and surrender to it, as to be a paintbrush in life is to be a muse for God. The innocent, full of resplendent acceptance and grace, does not blink twice at the darker paints when they show up, as they see there is no depth to the light without shade. They know that all colors and shades have their place in the masterwork of one's life. So I hope you enjoyed hearing those new contemplations as I enjoyed writing them, actually. It's coming through as inspiration for me as I'm creating this content every week. And well, this is the first one I've done. I'm hoping it comes through for the future weeks, but I hope to add these contemplations on the archetypes, experiencing each of the gates as we go through it. So maybe a couple people here, just about what resonated, what inspired here, what tickled you or activated something in you.
May try. I mean, there's so much that actually has activated as you were reading these descriptions. And for example, I have innocence in my EQ, and that's that's the pathway from chaos to innocence. And I've never I actually haven't contemplated this sphere yet, but as you were talking, I actually discovered that it was really a work that I really have to do, like to transmute chaos into okay, it's full of potential, that it's full of potential that can realize in each given moment in the best way possible. And it's really like restoring that initial trust, and exactly, it's innocence. Like each outcome may be perfect. It depends only from the angulation that you're looking at it. And it's really wonderful. I like, as you were reading this, I was like looking at the world from the perspective of my children. and they can make really wonderful things even from waste. I mean, the other day I was trashing like a milk bottle, and they said, no, don't trash it. I will do something beautiful out of it. And she made a penguin, and it was really beautiful. And I mean, like, exactly, it's everything is a matter of perspective, and it's only about your expectation. If you like have expectations based on your previous fears and previous bad experiences, bad negative experiences, or that you judge those experiences as negative, then it's difficult to see that the future may be actually better than it was. And it's really like everything like boils up to living in the moment and like restoring this initial trust in the moment.
Mm,
It's really, yeah.
perfect. Yeah, summed it up perfectly. The innocent lives in the moment in trust. You know, those kids, they have no fear. They don't know, and they're not jaded by the world. They're just living in
Of
pure
course.
curiosity, you know? And it's a powerful
They
state to
love
get
living
back.
in chaos, and it's really wonderful that the city lives in lives in the shadow. I mean, they live in chaos. I mean, I'm really angry with my kids every day because they are living huge chaos and mess, and I cannot live like that, you know. But that's their joy, that's their innocence. And I mean, it is really an incredible discovery that really city lives in the shadow.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah. And innocence is like part of the path of the alchemists, you know. It's one of the things that the alchemists want to return to. It's like a high enlightened state to return to the eyes of the child, you know, to be innocent and pure. But not to lose your creative power and your journey, but to regain that innocence, that purity of perception, you know, because
And you
that's
know
what the
what?
world is.
Purity is my purpose. And that's also funny.
Purity of your purpose. There you go. But yeah, the purity of perception, like clean lens, not jaded, not put with fears and all those dirty lenses over it, those limiting beliefs over us, you know, like I can't do this, or everything that we have between us and the purity of who we are and the purity of the moment. And you know, you mentioned Gene Key 3, and that's also part of the Enneagram Part 4 structure, just to let you know. So they're
Okay.
related, they're similar. They offer similar energies and contexts, chaos. And Enneagram fours are, you know, the people who experience a lot of four energy are generally quite chaotic in nature and they have lots of emotional turbulence and turmoil. But that can be alchemized, but that's their life's work. That's their challenge to really channel it into their creative output, their work, all that chaos, that potential, all that creative energy. Okay. Anyone else want to share? Lisa, good to hear from you.
Hello.
Hello again.
Um, just a couple of days ago, I was talking to a young woman whom I known for like 5 years, and I was so surprised that she was like in a whole victim mode, talking about like 5 years ago when I met her, she was like in love and so in such a beautiful place. And now, 2 children later, the same man, the same situation, the same house where she lives. Or right now, she experiences it like she's a total victim of her life. Like everything is so toxic and everything the man is doing wrong and not providing to her. And I was listening to her and I was like, I asked her some questions and she did not see a way out of it. And like, just to me, this 3 different parts right now are like, as her example, it's such a good, like, wow, the same woman, the same life, the same like people, but the creation can be from like both ways. It can, you can become victim of your creation, and you can become like, ugh, I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say, but
Exactly. So yeah, the victim, she's a victim of her own creation, and the victim is like,
exactly.
yeah, the victim is like the antithesis of the dream, right? Because they've not got the hope in there. They don't have hope of the dream man. The hope has died. Whatever dream she had has died. And now she's living in a kind of nightmare with no hope. And what needs to, like, that would be a good seed to plant for her. Not necessarily you, but it could be you, but hopefully she'll find that seed of hope, a way, which is a way out, you know? Um, Quite often just a bit about the shadow keys is like to really accept our circumstances. So if you're in a situation like that, it's not a bad place to be, including rock bottom. It's like it's not, but what we need to do is be able to not victimize ourselves from it, but like accept our situation, take responsibility for, okay, this is my reality. It's not pleasurable. I'm not getting to be myself or not receiving what I deserve in this moment. And really accept the shadows involved, the darkness of the situation, the problems, and the more comfortable you can get with it. And acceptance makes you very comfortable with things because you'll find that the most pain we receive is from the friction of resistance. When we're resisting our current reality, we're not accepting it. We're saying, no, I don't want this. And then that causes us a lot of pain by saying we don't like how reality is manifesting and we're saying no to it rather than just accepting it. Because when we accept it, we move through it.
Basically saying that I don't like the painting that I did.
Yeah, I don't, this is, look,
I hate it so much, and I'm the
stuck in it.
basically I'm the victim of my painting.
That's a beautiful way of putting it. I like that. I might keep that. Yeah, so they're a victim of their own creation, and now they're complaining. The Enneagram Type 4s like to complain and blame a lot, and that keeps them stuck in it. It's actually a way of attracting attention because they've got unmet needs, and their inner child is like, "Hey, look at me, I'm hurting, I need help." They're seeking a savior, rather than taking self-responsibility. Kasha's
Yeah,
rolling her eyes,
and
you know?
sometimes in this status of victimhood, we totally forget that we are the creators.
Exactly. Exactly. It's disempowering.
I was laughing because I think that my daughter is like Enneagram 4 and I'm 5. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard somebody saying that the biggest bridge in the Enneagram is between the fourth and the fifth and points. And that's true. I mean, there is so much tension between us because exactly she's so chaotic and she's so like in a victim mode and so on. And I want just peace and order, you know? And it's so funny this interaction. But I mean, exactly that's something about discovering this what you have like a gift. Like it's really about discovering our own ability to or be either be a victim or a creator. I mean, to do something, you can do something about the thing that that life poses in front of you, or that you maybe chose. But it's up to you if you suffer it or you do something about it, something creative and something loving. It's
Absolutely.
really.
And I've got the 55 in my SQ, which is also an Enneagram Part 4. And I'll just say this because it's part of my transmission from victimization to freedom. One of the words I brought through for that is, well, it's around the victim triangle. I don't know if you've heard about the victim triangle, about the ways in which we can all be a victim. It's a very powerful and simple teaching about the nature of victimization, how you can be, I won't go into it, but it's very powerful. I recommend looking at the victim triangle and the ways we can get stuck in being a victim. But one of the key that I found through my own contemplations of my SQ in the 55 is self-responsibility. And that's maybe not something a child can do. It's something that you do in later life, maybe, but it's something that can be learned. Self-responsibility, because as soon as you take responsibility for your reality, for your power as a creator, like I'm creating this, then you can take responsibility for getting yourself out of it. And you'll also see many more avenues out of it when you fully take responsibility for it, right? And the power that I created this, Yes, Katya.
I was just reading what you wrote in the chat, and as I've been in the victimhood quite a while in my life, I'm a 4/6 profile. So my first third was trial and error and not knowing. I mean, I still don't know, but it's a different not knowing now. It is also not only the complaining and resistance. I experienced that I really wanted people to understand what pain I suffer. I think that's the 61st gene key wants to understand everything, and also the 62nd as my life's work. So I always want to know the why. And as soon as I get into the why, I get psychotic, which is very helpful since I've found the gene keys, because having the intellect as a shadow is quite tricky because we live in a society where intellect is high standard, and so it's also that sort of loop being in. I want to understand the world with my mind, and um, and as soon as I go there, it kind of gets into that victimhood, and it's very subtle, and I can't, I now, since I do the gene keys, I can slowly find the way out and also experience more the one present moment, which is totally being out of my mind. I mean, it's not like the mind is not there. It's just that I don't go, I don't do anything. It just is. And then, and that's, but afterwards, when the first thoughts drop in again, I can realize that I've been in that state. So it's always after I experience that I've been in that sort of divine present moment, which is very juicy and very enjoyable. So, yes, I just wanted to add that sometimes it seems to be complaining and resisting, but it's people wanting to be understood, or heard, or just embraced in a certain way, which I find is okay to be in. The children are in this as well, and they are unhappy. So that's also innocence, to be in the suffering. So I find this very beautiful, to be innocent, but also to know what innocence means. That's I mean, know in terms of holistic knowing, not in the mind, just knowing. I can reach that state when I just drop my expectations, or when I don't really believe what my mind is just saying. So I just observe my mind. It's doing something, which is what the mind does. It does something, and so just don't put that as the focus, or the glasses to look through. You can have that mind like this and have it, but you don't have to look through it all the time. So
Yeah, very well said,
that's what.
Katya. Very well said. And you offered a lot there, and I'll just touch on one of the words you said there. You said many powerful ones, but expectation, and that is another shadow of this key and this channel, the 41 to the 30 is definitely a shadow of expectation and getting into the mind and ideas, whereas the truth is about being in the experience and appreciating the experience of what it is,
I just have one more question to the Enneagram
Yes.
thing. I believe. How do you or how do you know that which Enneagram type belongs to which gene key, or to which codon or something? You just find out in terms of what they wrote in the Enneagram.
No, well, yeah, it was like years of study and contemplation. And so a lot of it came through, or the beginnings of it came through when I wasn't in this dimension. So when I was
Oh,
having my Kundalini experience, I received the second part of the transmission, which was around combining the shadow keys. Yeah, the second part was around combining gene keys and human design with the Enneagram and correlating each of the keys to the types, which didn't come easy, but I've been pursuing that pattern for years and understanding the complexity of it. And it wasn't simple, but mostly through contemplation, I would say, and also doing a lot of research on human design, Enneagram, gene keys, and I Ching. So I did a lot of reading material as inspiration, and but I shifted a lot, and I have had to change the Enneagram symbol somewhat to accommodate the truth. And I had to learn about the Enneagram symbol, and so I would allow myself to change the symbol. Because I had to understand what the Enneagram symbol was for what purpose it was for.
mm.
So,
And what I don't know, I'm not really exactly sure, but I believe I'm 6 in Enneagram. Which gene keys would you?
that's another class. You'll have to keep tuning in.
Okay.
I've got lots of stuff published on that, right? But we'll have to move on.
Can you please translate, like not translate, but open the first, like the victim part, the last sentence? I didn't really get it. It was a beautiful sentence, but I think it's because I'm not a native speaker. What is the figment of imagination?
Figment is it's like not real. Let's say it's not real, it's not possible. When you say something's a figment of your mind, it's not real. You're imagining it, you know? So you tell people maybe who have got psychosis or who are hearing things, you're like, it's a figment of your, if you're hearing noises and you're making stories about it, you say it's a figment of your imagination. It's not real. It's not possible. So, that's what many people, for me, I can tell you my whole life, I wanted to be a director of movies, right? But I didn't really take the dream seriously. It was a figment of my imagination. It was just a dream that lived in me. I wasn't pursuing it. No part of me was activated to pursue it. I loved the dream. And there was a hope. Actually, there was hope, but not, it was the shadow of hope because there was no will in me moving me towards the dream. There was nothing in me moving me trying to manifest a dream. I just hoped it would magically happen. And that's fantasy actually. So sorry, when I was saying it was a dream, it wasn't. It was a fantasy of being a director, right? Because there was no light of hope and there was no willpower through it to help me manifest it. It was just a dream that I was doing nothing about, which is a fantasy. And that's what a figment of the imagination is. It's a fantasy. It's not real. It's just something you created in your head to make you feel a certain way. But
What is foreshadowings of potential futures?
foreshadowings is like a premonition. It's like yeah, foreshadowing is a good word to look up, but it's like giving you a little taste of what's to come. It's like a symbol, a signpost that this is coming in the future. That's what a foreshadow is. That happens in movies when you see a little flash of the gun, and that's a foreshadow that that gun's going to be used. It actually is going to be used. So it's a symbol of something that's actually going to happen. It's a signal or a signpost. So it's a dream, a real dream. The light of dreaming is a genuine foreshadowing of a potential future. So it's not imaginary. It is living in imagination, but it's also a reality waiting to be manifested.
Mhm.
And so I want to take our dreams seriously, and our dreams do require a certain seriousness, not the shadow of being serious about it, but they require us to take them seriously, as in we need to believe in them fully. The more we believe in the dream, the more we're taking it seriously, and the more likelihood of it manifesting. And so in this way, it's fuel for our ambition. So that the dream is the fuel, because the dream, when you tap into and we're going to go into the meditation very soon after this, right? The dream, when you tap into it, it's an experience. It's a reality in itself. And if you're really living the dream, like inside it, it's full of hope. It's full of wonder. You can actually sometimes taste or smell aspects of the dream. And the more experiential you can get with the dream, the more you're bringing it into reality, because all your senses are being activated by it. And that makes you want it more. And the more you really deeply want it and desire it, the more likelihood of you creating it is. You're feeding your subconscious, you're feeding your desire for it. And yeah, your passion, your curiosity. And so that's the power of imagination. It's the beginnings of creation. And so, 41 is all about the birth of something. And that's going to lead us very nicely into the next part. We don't really have time
Thank you.
but to do much else, but is everyone okay with everything that's said? Can I move on? Beautiful. Let's move on. And there's a couple more welcomed in. I will welcome you for the next part, people. We have Joshua and Ilke. So you came at a good time. You've missed some of the teaching, but you're here for the experiential journey that we're about to embark on. Yeah, and so the invitation here is to drop in, be part of the group here, but stay connected to your body and the sensations that are coming alive in you as the words are said, as you're being guided through the meditation. But I'm going to read a little bit more to you. And again, just allow the activations to occur in the body, the shadows and the lights. And yeah, be open to receive. So if you can just move into a receptive state, we're going to move gently in. So welcome, both of you. Okay. So this is just a little extra. I'm bringing the shadow of fantasy in here. Some language, a trap. So the trap I got stuck in when I was dreaming of being a director was actually I was fantasizing about being a director. I wasn't actually taking it in any way seriously. I was completely passive, completely passive. And I should add the word passive in here because fantasy, you're not doing anything about it. You're just living in that imaginary state. Fantasy is the dream world that we become stuck in, dislocating our agency from the real world to the imaginary. So there is no agency in fantasy, okay? And envisioning. So in contrast to fantasy, this one has agency. It has action, activity in it. It's not action per se, but we'll see that as active because envisioning is to envision something is to actively imagine a future possibility that we wish to manifest and to believe in its potential reality. So what we're doing is actually creating something with our mind's eye, and we can receive a vision, but when we receive it, the idea is that we believe in it as a potential reality. That's happening. We've got a foreshadowing of a potential future, and our job is to make that manifest now. It's very different from a fantasy. A vision is very different from a fantasy. There's an active principle in it. It's kind of real. It lives in this imaginary in our mind's eye, but it's got a reality to it that we can bring about. Okay, so this I channeled for this work, and so I'm going to intend to channel something for this work, for this transmission each week as I go through each key. And I hope you receive from this. So the invitation is to drop in. I'm going to lead directly into the meditation after this. So get comfortable. Relax, receive the words. And we're going to drop into the body and into the heart and into the soul and into the feelings and the sensations that are present in the physical vessel. So take a few breaths if you need to and just relax. Remember, you're safe and you're welcome. So just settle in. And this, I feel I tuned into the wisdom of the I Ching. The word itself is called contraction that I'm going to talk about, which human design uses and is also based on the I Ching. But I really feel like this is direction from the I Ching wisdom that I'm going to share with you, but my interpretation of it, right? Or my soul's interpretation of it. So, as we talk about shadow key 41, the key of dreaming, the direction here, and this is energetic or soul direction, is to contract. Contraction. Contraction is energetic direction to withdraw, to get quiet, and to listen inwardly. This energetic withdrawal precedes the birth of your soul's desire, which, if allowed to move from soul to sentience, can be a potent true north direction for us to follow. It is our direction. Now is the time to receive inspiration, clear direction, and motivation as to where to put our energy, into what domain, desire, or dream. We must be intentional with what energy we are infusing our desires and dreams with, as they will be the fuel for their manifestation. And we must be willing to let go of that which is not aligned, so we have the inner resources, capacity, clarity, and focus to manifest what is aligned. Okay, now we're going to go on the journey. So staying connected to your heart and soul in the center of your being, in the center of your chest, your sternum. Bring your awareness deeply into this spot, the heart chakra, for the moment. I want you to gather all this energy that we've been cultivating together, we've been co-creating, and gather your energy, your unspoken intentions. And you may have clear intentions, but you also have energetic intentions here and unspoken words that you wish to cultivate into a seed, a potent seed of dreaming and desire. I want you to plant that seed in the center of your chest and your heart, in the fertile soil of your heart, which is the G center, which generates reality. G for generate, that's what I think. The heart is a great manifester, or the manifester. And you're planting this beautiful seed of desire and dream for 2025 and beyond. This could be a whole life or incarnational dream that you're receiving today. And you may just receive the seed, not the fruits. Or you may receive the fruits. You may receive the entire dream, or just a fraction of it, a feeling of it, or some sensations of it. Because when the soul speaks to us, it speaks to us in a very quiet whisper. Sometimes felt as sentience or sensations in the body, or subtle awareness and feeling. So now that the seed is planted in that fertile soil of your heart, I invite you to invite the light of Source, the Creator, Source energy, to shine upon it and energize that seed and fill it with nourishment and life force. Feel the rays, the sun shining on you, receiving that light. And also feel the soil below you, the damp, fertile soil, the connection to Mother Earth. And you may wish to start feeling your physical vessel as you start feeling your connection to Earth here. You may want to invite the rains to also rain upon you. Receiving that nourishment from Mother Earth and Source. And enjoying this connection to the fertile earth below you. And deepening this connection, feeling your body, feeling your physical vessel, the weight of being here and now, human in form, the connection to the seat or the bed you're lying in, the weight, the connection. And sink in and just surrender to the weight of being here and now. Just allow yourself to relax and drop into the body fully, sink in a bit deeper, and connect to the earth, visualizing the Earth Star chakra, 2 feet below your feet or 2 feet below where you're lying down or however you're sitting. But imagining 2 feet below you, this Earth Star chakra. And this is a connection to Mother Earth, the connection to Mother Earth. It's not in the physical, but it's our connection to the earth. And we can connect at any time and deepen our connection, grounding into physical reality, receiving the nourishment and the stability and the grounding of Mother Earth, and the safety that that brings, the truth that that brings, the reality that that brings. So feeling that connection and inviting all of you to come fully on board in this journey. If you're feeling a little bit distracted or left out, or not fully here and present for this meditation, I invite you to become aware of that part that's not fully here and fully committed to this now moment in this meditation, and say yes to it. I'm going to go fully into this meditation. I'm fully going to receive this meditation. I'm here for it. I'm allowing my body to stop resisting it and dreaming of other places to be, and say yes to now and receive these words in this direction to go inward and contract. We're all here now together, and we're going to go deeper now into this journey, into the body, into Mother Earth. And I want you to envision now the seed growing roots. Imagine the roots coming, stems coming from, bursting through the seed now and going wherever they need to go, allowing them to move, letting them penetrate whatever part of your being that they need to, nourishing those parts, finding core stability there. But I want you to track at least some of these roots as they move into the root center of your being, connecting to your root chakra, connecting deeply to this center, this security survival center, and creating a sense of security here with this new connection. Sense of stability, safety, groundedness, here and now-ness. I want you to go deeper now, allowing the roots to penetrate the earth below you and to move through the center of the earth, moving through the earth's layers, going deeper and deeper. Finding that grounding and stability. And find a safe connection with Mother Earth. Allowing your roots to connect to her center, this ball of love, of light, of fire, of pure potential, of creativity, of source. And finding stability in that core. And as your roots sit in this light, just receive from the light whatever it is you need to receive today. Could be remembering, could be codes, some kind of nourishment or direction. Just allowing yourself to receive what it is that you are. Something's coming through for you today. I want you to begin receiving that as you already probably have, but just connecting to that and anything else that you need for this dream to be made reality. It could be connection to something lost or something forgotten, or maybe an unmanifested potential, something that you've never even contemplated before. And this could just be all feelings or sensations or imagination for now. That's okay. Everything is welcome and accepted. There is no right way of doing this. Trust what you're receiving. Trust your own inner guidance as well. I am your guide, but you're the ultimate guide, your priority. Whatever your intuition is saying, trust that. So receiving everything that you need, enjoying receiving from this beautiful source connection to Mother Earth. Allow that energy to move up through the roots now. Watching it travel up, be with it as it travels, receiving, receiving, receiving. All that you are, all that you need, receiving, receiving. And bringing that light all the way back up to the Earth Star chakra, that connection to Mother Earth, making sure that's energized and you're connected to the physical reality, God's green earth, connecting it to the Earth Star. And when that's filled with light, or however you envision it, energy, connection, inviting that energy up through the roots and into your physical vessel, allowing that energy to travel up, filling your being with light or energy, however you visualize it, up through your lower half. So feeling that connection now as the lower half is filled with light, with energy, with nourishment, with connection to the dream. In whatever way that's coming through, feelings, sensations, awareness, clairsentience, claircognizance, visions, whatever it's coming through, bring it up through the lower half and bring it into the root. Bring it into the root. And here, I want you to feel it. How does it feel to be bringing this dream through in the root? Does it make you feel safe or unsafe? If it makes you feel unsafe, allow yourself the permission to feel that unsafety, whatever that is. Whatever feeling is here, give yourself full permission to feel it. And just allow it to dissipate through your awareness, through the light of your awareness. So if we're bringing this through, it's because we're ready to bring this through. And there's no reason to be afraid anymore of manifesting that which we are, that which we're here to create. Feeling it there. And hopefully you're feeling some energy or connection or awakening something here that you're feeling. But do not judge anything. Allow and permit everything here. If there's any yearnings, any longings, connect to that energy, allow that energy. That's fuel for your manifestation, remember. And don't make any stories about what it is that you're receiving here. It may be a story you're receiving, but just witness the story. Don't connect it, but don't make assumptions, say, about it. Let the story or the feeling be what it is and connect to it, enjoy it with a curiosity A loving awareness and curiosity is a good vibration to have with your awareness. Okay. And in the root, when you feel ready, we're going to move this energy from the root into the sacral chakra next. But if you're feeling unsafe, focus on making yourself feel safe. What it is that you need to feel safe. Bring that energy to yourself. If it's love, it's love. If it's holding and safety, give yourself a squeeze, give yourself a hug, make yourself feel cozy or tight. If it's a more masculine presence of safety, yeah, hold yourself tight and give yourself some positive reassurance. Say the right thing. If it's encouragement, give yourself encouragement. If you're experiencing any negative self-beliefs here, which we often do in the root chakra, we're not going to give them energy. We're not going to give any energy to the negative self-beliefs. We're not putting our energy into those beliefs anymore. We're going to put our energy into the dream, into the longing, into whatever's coming through. Just acknowledge the beliefs and say, no, thank you. Okay, feeling the energy come into the sacral now and allowing it to fill this energy center. This is our power center, our center of feeling alive, our capacity for creation. It's our life force energy is manifested here. Where are we going to put our energy? I want you to feel your capacity for the dream, for the longing, for whatever's coming through. Feel the desire here. If there's desire here, allow that. So allowing yourself to feel the energy, the power of creation in your sacral chakra, just below your navel. Breathing into the belly, allowing it to expand, big, deep belly breaths, connecting to the power for creation. And I'm welcoming a new dreamer in, Mathia. Just welcoming her to drop her eyes and relax and settle into the body and follow in. If she's here for a reason, she's welcome to join and settle into the meditation. We're in the energy of life force, of sexuality, of creative potential here in the sacral, creative capacity. And we're just breathing in there, breathing through any blocks, any insecurities in our sacral. We know we have the power and capacity because we are all creators here. And we may not have created much in the past, but we're ready to step into our creatorship now. Give yourself reassurance. Know that you are a creator and you're ready to create whatever it is you're dreaming of, the life of your dreams, a specific dream. Whatever it is, you have the capacity. Connect to that capacity and that power and that creativity. Keep breathing into the energy here as we move on to the solar plexus. Bringing that energy, filling your being with light from the earth star through the root, through the sacral, into the solar plexus now. Your lower three chakras filled with this connection, with this energy, with this dream. Here we're connecting to the soul itself, the dream, the personality, the who we are now and the who we're becoming, the who that's going to become through the manifestation of this dream, because we're not going to be the same person by the time this dream manifests. We're always changing, we're always becoming, and we're going to allow that. We're going to allow this energy to transform us now, to allow this change to take place in our personal reality. And here it's important now we connect to our truth about what it is we're bringing through. Maybe we have some feelings, some emotions around this. Maybe we're beginning to get a clearer idea or vision of it. And it's okay if we're not allowing, not expecting anything, just trusting what's coming through, trusting yourself, trusting your own intuition and guidance. This is your experience. I'm just a guide. Trust yourself. So allowing the feelings to bubble up here in the solar plexus. This is the home of gate 30 now, according to human design. And gate 30 holds the seed and potential of passion. It has the shadow of temptation, where our personality can be attracted to lower level desire and get taken off the track of manifesting our core number one dream, our dream reality, through dispersing its energy into lower level temptations and desires. But here, we're focusing on the one desire, the one dream, and we're inviting in passion. Passion energy is a powerful creative force and motivating force so that we continue to persevere and pursue our dream. And with passion comes willpower, and willpower is very important to the solar plexus. It really is the masculine creative force. It's how we penetrate reality with our truth. And you best believe that your dream now is your truth. Whatever you're bringing through from the soul, from your heart, from love, from your spirit, from your essence, whatever it is coming through you now is your truth. And inviting your willpower to take hold of this truth. So it may take it from a non-physical reality within you into a physical reality outside of you. And within you is physical as well, with the sensations and the feelings that you're having. But we're going to take it from within and eventually move it outward. So what we want to do is connect to the will to do so, the will to follow through and persevere with our dream. We need that will. Mm. Mm. I'm going to speak a little bit about me, as some of you may need to hear this. I used to be on a path of, let's say, the feminine path of manifestation, of surrender and receiving whatever life gives to me. And that's still a valid path for all of you. And it's very powerful. It's what the law of attraction is kind of mostly based on. There's also the masculine part. But a lot of it is about receiving that which you are, connecting to the emotions of it and receiving that which you are, staying connected to the dream, the aim of your manifestation, and holding that vibration until it comes to you. That's the essence of the feminine receptive approach to creation. What I'm going to share now with you is my masculine approach to creation, which can be very powerful for some to hear. And it's all about willpower. It's about choosing something without a shadow of a doubt, with utter certainty and clarity. Like, I'm choosing that with my will. And it's very penetrating when you really hone in and focus all your energy and attention on the one point of the thing that you're choosing to create. I'm choosing this, and being almost forceful with it, not in a shadowy, detrimental way, in a way that you're disregarding all other options. I'm choosing one thing. If that feels like your approach, that, for me, my shadows were being flaky, getting distracted, being half-hearted, like type 7 or type 9 shadows, and not really committed to one thing, or not really even choosing. I wasn't ever choosing anything. And in a way, I never got what I wanted sometimes. And I felt that. And so I've learned to choose something. And so with your willpower, you can choose it. And it is very powerful in its masculine principle. And in that way, you commit to that thing by choosing it. So whether it's the feminine principle of receiving it, calling it in and attracting it, or the masculine principle of choosing it and going after it, whatever it is, know that it's happening now. You're on the road, you're on the path to receiving and creating it. Taking a deep breath in and receiving that, and now moving up to the heart. The heart, where our desires are purified in love. I call it heartfelt desire, love desire. This is the end of like lower level desires. This is a pure desire in the heart. And it can be from that place of innocence, of purity, of creativity, of your inner child, of your essence, of your creative spirit. Or it could be of service, like I'm doing this for service, for my family, for my community, for the world, for humanity. You know, the heart is altruistic in this way, mate, quite often. But not everyone's heart. Some hearts are artistic, which is more self-centered, but in the most positive light sense, where they use their energy for themselves so that they can create and manifest. All is welcome here in the heart. So just feel what's alive here. Enjoy the vibrations here, bringing in the feelings of love if you have it there. Whatever feelings are there, including negative feelings. Always give permission to whatever's coming up, the challenges that you may be experiencing, the shadows, the pain. Just bring a loving care to them, support them. Know that it's okay. Sometimes these feelings, well, not sometimes, these feelings need to be felt, to be honored, and to be allowed through here. And that could be part of this process, could be a healing process to feel what's there. As this is the heart, you may receive a deeper connection to the dream and the truth of this. Allow that inspiration, love, purity, whatever it is, allow this energy to move you. And breathing into the heart and fully receiving all that you need to receive here. A few deep breaths into the heart space, the heart chakra. With the in-breath, breathing in light. And with the out-breath, letting go of any anxieties, any fears, any stuck emotions, any blocks, just breathing that out. And now we can come into the throat, bringing all this energy all the way from Earth Star Chakra below you, through the root, sacral, solar plexus, heart, and now into the throat. The center of truth and manifestation. So let it be known this is your truth. If it has arisen to the throat chakra, it's a truth. And here we're asking for clarity. We're seeing or feeling something with clarity. I invite you now also to speak your truth. Allow it to come through. And you can mute or unmute, it doesn't matter. You can just begin to speak. Allow this throat chakra to break through any insecurities, any doubts or negative beliefs, and just start speaking a truth. Whatever wants to emerge through, start speaking it to clear the way for this truth to emerge, for this truth to manifest. So this is a free and safe space to speak, to use the power of the word. The word is a manifesting principle. Keep speaking, using the power of your voice to dispel any doubt. And if you can, say something with clarity. But trust your voice. If you need to be silent now, be silent. Only speak that which is emerging from the heart up. We're not speaking from head down. We're not speaking from mind or ego. It's from your being, from heart, from soul. Enjoying this. Feeling the vibration of the heart coming through the voice. Feel the power. And with this, we can move to the third eye, allowing the energy again to keep moving and circulating through your body, allowing it all the way up, reminding yourself of the connection to Mother Earth and Source, and coming to the third eye. And so in the third eye now, we're speaking about the vision. And we're inviting clarity of vision here to see something either with our mind's eye or to know something with our cognizance, with our mind. That's also clarity of vision, just to know something to be true. So inviting a vision as a literal vision in your mind's eye, or a deep knowing that something is true. And this vision is about what you're bringing through, what you're manifesting, your dream, your future reality, or direction, next steps, where you're going. So allowing the clarity of the vision to come through, you may feel the need to, again, speak aloud or write something down, or just allowing the vision to come through in whatever way it wants. And it might not be clear yet, and that's okay, just trusting what you receive. And with that, we're going to bring it up to the head, the top of the head. And we're going to invite the dream to connect to spirits, to connect to source, our higher self, our higher nature, and receive any inspiration we need to manifest a dream from spirit, from our guides, from our higher self, from source. Receiving any inspiration from the head, and allowing this divine connection to source through the crown chakra. You can even envision source light coming into the crown and purifying it and clearing the way for you energetically. You're going to be supported on this mission, on this journey. So imagine source light purifying the crown and clearing the way, supporting you in whatever way possible, and allowing this light to penetrate into the head and into the being, and meeting that earth connection energy, as above, so below, as below, so above, as within, so without, as without, so within. Connecting heaven and earth here to bring about this manifestation, this dream in the very near future. So feeling your body, feeling this connection, and allowing yourself to feel whole, to feel connected in truth and in trust. And coming into your body, if that's not where you already are, feeling alive, feeling here, feeling the connection to the ground, the sensations in your body. You can start to move your hands or your feet and come back into here and now. And if you're still receiving, don't let me interrupt you. Enjoy receiving what you're receiving. I'm going to slowly move us through the last portion. So, welcoming everyone back into the here and now, into their bodies, into their form. We're just taking you through this journey, which I indulged in. And so now we're going to share. We're going to have a little share. This is a powerful way to integrate and continue to receive by just to connect the dots and articulate some of your experience. Who's ready? Katya.
I'm ready.
I knew it would for some reason. I just got the word Katya and then you put your hands up.
62 can always speak. Thank you for this very lovely meditation. And it was really, I tried to find the words. It was very fulfilling in terms of the light coming through the body. And I really was aligned with you stepping from one chakra to the next. So it was really beautiful. And also I could feel this sort of vibration coming through my body. So I could feel my whole body vibrating in that way. And I very much appreciated to the last part when you put both the highest chakra and the lowest together. So it kind of felt like a safe container, which really resonated to contain the whole energy. So I thank you from my heart, and I have to leave. I'm a little bit overdue now, but I really appreciated to be overdue because I really enjoyed this meditation.
Wow, you did more than you said. Yeah, you did 2 hours. So well done. And appreciate your kind words and your presence and contribution. Thank you, Katya.
Very much.
Lovely to meet you.
See you all. Have a good day.
Who's next to speak, to share? Kasha.
Maybe I can. It was incredible experience, and both like inwards and outwards, because I have to share also something that happened like all of a sudden, because it was like 1 week of total fog and really bad weather that I haven't seen a sun for a week, and it was really bad. And this morning, it was really heavy rain, and then suddenly during this meditation, sun came up. Like it was, and it was even stronger and stronger as it was moving, as you were moving forward with your words through the chakras, and like the light was coming through. It was really like almost out of the body experience, but I really felt it. Like I don't know, I received like a download, and I had it like it was in the ether, so to say. That on the CEDIC level, I think we understand that it's not something that we create, as it was during your presentation, that the artist is in the middle, is in the gift level, that we are so ecstatic that we can create, and it's wonderful. But on the CEDIC level, we understand that the light is like coming through us, and it's like the light from above comes through us to the center of the earth, that also contains light and warmth, and it like awakens that light, like it recalls the um, uh, original paternity between the two, and they are like coming one through us. And I mean, I had this incredible experience of this divine union of what's really deep inside and what's above. That right now it's also funny on the astronomical plane, because I believe that now it's like extremely high solar activity. There are some solar flares and so on, and there are some predictions that the Earth will also erupt, because there is like scientific record that this solar activity is like awakening the Earth, and also on the seismic level, that there are some earthquakes and eruptions of volcanoes and so on. I don't know. I can totally feel it. It's something that is really awakening, and yeah, I had this download. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm. Feel
Now
your
I have like sun totally in my eyes. I mean, it's really incredible.
turned into a ghost now, full of light. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Keep it on. And thank you for your profound share. It's great to see you so activated. Mm. Mm. And just make sure you contain that energy, because you're full of life right now, full of energy.
Yeah.
But make
No,
sure it
I
stays good.
like needed it. It was I was like lifeless for many months, or maybe even years, like now by now. And tomorrow I have like a very important conversation where I should, because I'm like 10 years in my PhD, and tomorrow I decided to tell my supervisor that I'm quitting, that I don't want to do that anymore.
Wow.
And yeah. Yeah, I will do the light work. I don't know. It's so funny. Yeah. So the
Wow.
timing was perfect. Yeah.
That sounds like someone is following their truth, you know? Yeah, beautiful.
You said something about containing the energy. That's also very
So
interesting.
you received a lot there. I can feel it in your
Yeah.
voice. You received a lot of downloads and a lot of light, and
Yes.
probably a lot of recognition about who you are and why you're here. And so the invitation is to contain it. Don't let it escape, which it won't, but just like the energy of containment is the energy of like holding it, bringing it into the body and making it almost like, I don't know, grounding it within your being. It's like, and calming it down. It's just like, it's all
Mhm.
excited energy. It's very high vibrational. And so
Yeah.
it's just like bringing it in, connecting to it, grounding it in to the body, into the vessel, in whatever
Mhm.
way you do it intuitively, but grounding it essentially,
Mhm.
because it's powerful.
Yes, very. I've heard, and I also had a download about the alchemical transformation of the elements. I don't know that it's, and I don't know if you can relate or expand on that, but I've heard that alchemical transformation needs a lid, a jar for the alchemical transformation, like our body. If we take our body as a container where the alchemical transformation takes place, it always needs a lid.
Well, all I can speak to is the
Mhm.
power of containers. I've been in containers, obviously, in other courses, and I've conducted my own containers. Lisa was in one. And when you have a fixed time frame and certain conditions, you create the conditions for the container. It's like magic or alchemy, you could say it, because you're pursuing because you're setting the conditions, you're gonna generate certain outcomes with those conditions. And what do I want to say on it? It feels like potency is the word I want to use. There's a potency and a power to it when the lid is on. We're in it for this time. And if we didn't have the lid, it'd be just too much. The energy would disperse or it would explode. but the lid keeps it. We're doing it for this amount of time, and I've been in like
With
retreat.
what you said before, it's about choosing that masculine energy. That it's like picking some certain amount on what you are willing to work on, and then you're like isolating it, and then you're working on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
and it's getting very intentional. It's the masculine principle. But that's a lot about what I do in my work, is about the hope with the shadow keys. A lot of this discussion about, the detail, the intricacy I go into. I do a lot of detailed work on some of the shadows, like expanding it, is like so that we can really isolate almost the shadow that we're stuck in or work on. We can find it. It's like that's the one thing I'm going to work on. And because I know if I work on that one thing, it's going to transform a lot of things. And I did that myself with the shadow of half-heartedness. That's what launched the shadow keys. And I don't have shadow of half-heartedness in my chart or in my human design Argene keys. I did half-heartedness, and because I saw that commitment was something that was deeply lacking in my life and it was affecting everything in my life, relationships, my work ethic, the way I did dishes and stuff, everything I did half-heartedly. I was always thinking about the next thing or what else I was missing out on. I was always, my energy, I was half here, half somewhere else. And so I saw commitment as a shadow key for me. That's what I felt. It was a key for me, and it really unlocked not just the shadow keys, but a whole new way of living and showing up in the world as a committed person. And that was really transformative. And it was like a big part of becoming who I am as a man, you know? And the seed was always there because I was always half-hearted. So the seed, the shadow was always there, but commitment wasn't there. And so Shadow Keys helps you define which your shadow is, and then it offers the container. And I'll go into how I transformed it in the next slide because I'll use it as an example. Beautiful. Lisa or Kirsten, do you want to share anything? Thank you so much, Kasha.
I have no words. I have like a block here, but I have a lot of pictures in my of moving pictures around me. It starts with the very beginning with the longing, and it is here now. This part of receiving something. Uh, but I like the idea of a container we have. For me, it is like a chaldron and like a alchemistic chaldron, and this picture is a bit better for me. Not only container, but children where the transformation can happen.
Yeah, exactly. And you're the ingredients.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you share something about the visions you received, what you're receiving?
I cannot define it because it is too much. It is like I'm in the center, and from all around me, from all like a sphere, come different movies to me. Very colorful and a lot of different things. And all that comes to me, come into me, and it's too much. Yes. And maybe I have to choose something of that.
Yeah.
Maybe it is something of a crowd of possibilities of options, and I have to choose one.
Yeah. Maybe ask your higher self what it is that you need to receive. You can ask for that guidance, what it is that I need to receive.
It's like to find the connection a connection of all that different things.
The connection of the different.
Yes, like how to say, it is that all the different things or the different pictures or movies are connected with something, and to find out what is the connection between all that.
That's worthy. Do you want to, and I need your permission in this, you feel into your yes and your no. Do you want to open up the throat a little bit more now with me?
Yes.
Okay. So ask yourself, why am I not speaking my truth?
I don't know my truth.
Say, I know my truth 3 times quite loudly through the throat. I know my truth.
I know my truth. I know my truth. I know my truth.
How did that feel saying that?
It is like something is burning inside me.
Where do you feel the burning?
Through the whole body. Something burns. Now comes some cold from that person.
And just to let you know, that was willpower that I was transmitting to you because I had to unlock my throat. And I've done so a lot through the will. And so I can use my knowledge of willpower and share it with you just by transmission.
I didn't get all that. No,
Look,
sorry.
sharing that with others who need to hear it. But part of what makes this wisdom so beautiful and why Richard is so epic, because he's transmitting his wisdom. And that's why we're all listening to him and we're all like, I love you. And like, because he's got embodied wisdom that he's sharing. And if you notice in his presence, a lot of it's around slowness, gentleness, being kind, being soft with yourself, and like opening to life, the beauty of life and sensitivity. You know, he carries that in his aura and his presence and his words. And that's what his teaching is. It's a really beautiful teaching to contemplate and dream with Richard and the Gene Keys. But that's his teaching. And obviously he teaches many things, but what he teaches most profoundly is what emanates naturally from him. It's like I have strong will. I've got a defined ego, but I didn't always have a defined ego center. I had to learn that through healing my masculine wound and embodying the man that I am. And yeah, learning from other teachers about what will is. It's like a primary creative force. And it's saying, because I like you perhaps also didn't know my truth, and I would never made choices. Life happened to me. I didn't choose things, and I was grateful for what life gave me, don't get me wrong. But then at some point I became bitter because I wasn't getting what I really wanted. I wasn't manifesting the dream. And then I had to learn to choose.
Maybe this is the point for me. Sometimes I feel a big emptiness, not only in me, but around me, not only around in this apartment or in the city, but like universal emptiness, and it feels good. And today, receiving all the different pictures, really colorful pictures, was something. I knew it, but I didn't receive it in my body, all the possibilities. And maybe this is the point to open me for to see it more clearly, And then I have the possibility to choose something. Because when it's all empty, there's nothing to choose.
Mm-hmm. True.
So it is a great point, just like something comes through.
Yeah.
And to really to have the possibility to have a choice. But when it is empty, it's nothing to choose.
Yeah, and that's interesting. And we can have met people who have an addiction to, the formless, and that might to be do with, I don't know, lifetimes past or whatever, but they're addicted to emptiness. And it's like they don't choose because they don't want to create form. There's a fear of creating form, or there's just a real pleasure in the emptiness, and they don't want to be in material so much. And so they're not choosing, they're not creating. I got a couple of quotes around choosing that came to me. One I came up with today was yeah, it's kind of like your choices are what create your reality, actually. Choices create reality. So if you think about the reality that you live in right now, they're actually a culmination or summation of your choices or lack of choices, which is also an unconscious choice. And another one is every choice you make makes you. So it's a kind of a reflection of who you are, and it helps your becoming of who you are. Every choice you make makes you, makes you. Okay. So what's coming up next is opportunity for further work and integration. And then the last piece is going to be an offering, which I hope you stay around for, the offering. So this is some work that I've detailed in the past through past post, but I want to share it here with you because there's a beautiful opportunity. Because part of the revelation that came through the connections that I made, I'm going to finish the story that I was telling Kasha, is that upon realizing I wasn't a committed person, I decided to commit fully to one thing. And I searched my heart and soul about what I could commit to. And I was doing screenwriting at the time, and I'd been pursuing that pretty strongly for years, but it never materialized. And it got into a point of like, I was stuck and I didn't enjoy the work anymore. So my heart couldn't commit fully to what was needed, which was like the networking production process, talking, pitching and talking to producers. I just wasn't in for that for some reason. And so I said, like, no, I can't commit to a full heart with that. But I'd already had the revelation of shadow keys and I wasn't working on it. I'd received it during the silent meditation, but I wasn't working on it. I said, you know what? I just want to be a committed person. I'm going to commit to the shadow keys thing. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to commit to it so I could be a committed person. So I was committed to being in the gift of commitment and overcoming the shadow of half-heartedness. Not so much the shadow keys, yes, but that was more the tool or the medium I was going to use to be committed. And that was just my choice because I'm a very internally focused person. Inner growth is something I do pretty well. And that's why I teach transformation and inner growth. And so that's always been my focus. But I wanted to actually manifest something. I couldn't manifest my screenwriting career, unfortunately. So I was like, I'm going to body manifest this Shadow Keys thing, whatever it is. I know it's going to be a big transmission of some kind, and I'm just going to commit to it. And you know what? I said I was going to do it for a year, and I did that with my heart. But what came through is that I didn't actually need to do it for a year. I only needed to do it for 6 weeks, because I felt the shadow of half-heartedness completely dissipate within me and the gift of commitment fully enliven within me within 6 weeks. And why am I saying 6 weeks? Because 6 weeks was the time, and you can't unfortunately see it here, but the 29 is in the sacral and the 46 is in the G center. And there's a 6 week transit period between the 29 and the 46. And literally on the day, I was cycling to a dance, and it dropped into my head that this was true, that I'd somehow done this inner journey of 29 to 46, but I'd done it in real life. Because for those 6 weeks, I was honoring my commitment of the shadow keys, and I was doing 3 posts a week of sharing or disseminating content, which was like a structural thing. That was me being disciplined, showing up, being reliable, and being consistent. All qualities that I didn't really have very strong. So I was committed, and 3 posts a week is something that I tuned into and I was inspired to choose. And I did that for 6 weeks. But not only that, I did dancing over those 6 weeks. And I didn't know at the time, but I was doing this dance called a rite of passage through dance, or movement rites, right? And every week I was dancing, and I dance every week anyway, usually, or most weeks, and it's pretty effortless, joyful, and I can always feel myself, and that's why I do it. It's very medicinal. But these 6 weeks were very hard to dance. Like I was dancing through soup, like thick, viscous. It was very heavy. I was tired. I was lethargic. I was drained in these 6 weeks when I was dancing. So dancing was very hard. I'm like, I had no idea why it was so hard these 6 weeks, but I kept showing up every Tuesday and dancing. And then on the 6th week, I felt amazing. It was actually the 5th week I felt amazing, started feeling really good. And the 6th week, I was ecstatic. I was actually in the, not quite the city, but very high vibration of the 46. So when the 46 was transiting, I was beyond delight. I was in more ecstatic kind of state of feeling so good from moving through all this dense energy. And that's what I was moving through, is actually karmic layers that I was moving through. And unwittingly, that commitment that I made it so. And becoming a committed person wasn't just showing up every day, it was actually healing the past or clearing karma. And I didn't know I had all this energy from the past, from past lives, and this life holding me back. But because this energy was in the sacral, it was stored there. And the 29 is a sacral energy. And so that movement was helping me shift and move the energy and transform and alchemize it. So we had the dance, which was an indirect way to do the shadow. Yes, we have a question.
Alex, you don't have any activations in this 4629 channel, right? Yourself?
No. No.
How did you connect this experience with this channel?
So, I already was a fan of the Gene Keys and I knew it, but I found out I was in the shadow of half-heartedness by just noticing it in my life. My ex-girlfriend actually told me I wasn't a committed person, and that was kind of like a light bulb. I was like, oh, I get it. Like I didn't really know it, but it made sense when she said that. And so that was the first revelation. So that's why I encourage with this work in general, you know, we have our charts, but our charts are limitations as well, because there's so much more to us than what's defined in a chart, and especially just simple words that are assigned to the chart, that's even more limiting. And there's a purpose for that. That simplicity makes it a really easy and accessible teaching, and it's beautiful. But Richard will be the first to say that it's a limited teaching, because it has to be in order to be accessible and to be taught and to be disseminated. But what I'm doing with the shadow keys is inviting people to look into their openness. And Kasha, you said you have the 30, right? So your openness would be the 41. And I start by telling people to look at your openness from where you're defined, because that's going to be where you're attracting the most lessons. So you're already going to be experiencing shadows of the 41 if you've got the 30 defined. And as I said, I was experiencing half-heartedness maybe my whole life. And it's nowhere to be seen are the 46. I tell a lie, I did find the 29 by going very esoteric and finding a black Lilith moon that has the 29. So I did find it, but it wasn't shown in human design or gene keys, right? So I did find 20.
Sorry to interrupt, but I also have Lilith in 30 gates 30, but it doesn't show in human design.
Exactly. So who knows, right? Like where it's going to be. Like there's plenty not there, there's the Chiron as well, you know. But the point is I teach people to use their own self-trust, their intuition, and their resonance. So if you're experiencing, just look at your life. If you're having a hard time, ask yourself why you're having a hard time, or if you're experiencing a block in life, why are you experiencing that block? It may be in your gene keys chart, but it also may not be. So open to the possibility of other keys. That's the invitation here. And so looking at your openness, because Ra teaches the wisdom, and this is not talked about a lot in human design circles, but in the definitive book of human design, it very clearly says that your openness, you do have your openness, it's just not consistent energy. It's part of you. You still have your openness. And actually, that's where you're going to become wise and mastered in, because that's what you're going to be learning and working on in this lifetime. And I'm a believer that we're here as souls to learn. And so who wouldn't want to know their lessons? Your lessons are quite often in your openness. Some of our biggest life lessons are going to be in our open centers for sure, and our open gates. And so I want my work to help people journey into their openness, which is their journey of becoming who they are. It's about transformation. It's not about being who you are. It's about you're already being who you are. Your being is inherent, right? It's about becoming. So you need to manifest your true nature in form through transformational work. And so I help people with transformation. And I'm offering you here a transformational journey. And this particular transformational journey, I hope I concluded that journey with the dance and the shadow keys come in. By 60, by the time 6 weeks came in, I was totally transformed in that domain. I felt totally committed. I was on track. And I felt so much lighter pursuing. It wasn't a slog to show up and do the work. I was excited and delighted to do my work now because I'd gotten through all the resistance in my body. Not all of it, don't get me wrong. I'm not the most committed person ever, right? But I cleared a shit ton of work. I did a lifetime's of work in 6 weeks because I was very intentional with what I was doing. And I also unlocked a secret code or a little portal into transformation. And the idea is that when used intentionally, these transits are portal, not unlike a lion's gate or something astrological like that, right? So the idea is that we work with the transits, and this is pretty in-depth stuff, esoteric stuff. But I'm here for teaching it for those who are ready to work with this and to be very intentional about their transformation and what they're creating. Use the 41 as a portal because the 30 comes around in around about 3 weeks. So that's a very short window. Some of these windows between harmonic gates are like almost 12 months long. Some are 6 months, some are weeks. They're different lengths, so they're different journeys. But this one's short and sweet. So you can really get a taste of what I'm offering for, and what better way to start the Human Design Rave New Year than to start with the first key and engage in fulfilling your dream. I call this, superficially right now, it's called the path of fulfillment because it's really about fulfilling something within you and also fulfilling a desire, fulfilling a need, fulfilling a potential, fulfilling a dream, and feeling the joy of being fulfilled by life by doing something that means something to you. Following your heart and soul is deeply meaningful and it fulfills you when you commit to doing that. So we've talked in detail about the 41, but what you'll also experience on such a journey is the shadow and gifts of the 30. And the shadow I've talked about, we know the shadow of desire, but I'm going to use the word temptation is the word that I use for the 30. And so that's the temptation to go off track from your commitments and your dreams and to engage in low level desires and temptations that are dissolving or dispersing your energy and taking it away from the one dream. The one dream you're trying to manifest, you're actually draining energy from it and putting it in other things that you shouldn't be putting it into. So that's temptation. And what you want to be fueling you is the gift of passion. Passion is a really driven energy. And remember, 41 is a start codon. It's an initiating code key, and it's in the root center, right? That's about the dream. But there is an energy here that can be used and transformed and brought into coherence, and ideally an energy like passion. It can be desire, it can be passion. But passion is very powerful, it's very motivating, and it's beautiful to be passionate about something, to care about something that deeply, right? A lot of why I was driven to this work was to find out why I wasn't passionate. Where is my passion? You know, why was I so half-hearted in so many things I did? Because my energy was all over the place. I wasn't focusing it into passion. I wasn't driven. I wasn't motivated. And so I had a lot of work to do in the lower chakras in order to be the man I am today doing this. Okay, so that's the idea. Does that excite anyone? Does anyone feel like they're going to do that? Kasha? Yeah? Do you want to share with me what's going to happen with you?
I don't know what you have to offer, but and by the way, I will have to leave in 2 minutes. But yeah, it resonates really a lot, and especially because it's exactly the 30th is my core wound, and I'm in a moment of my life where like I've been living exactly without any passion for a while now, and yeah, there is this deep hunger. So
Yeah,
it resonates. I
the
don't know.
So
Yeah.
that's also related to Enneagram Part 7 and the hunger, because that gene key 35 is also there and 30. And so there's this hunger. And so that
Yeah.
can be a powerful force. I'm a very type 7 person, so we can support. But what I offer is initiations. That's part of what I offer as like one-on-one sessions. I also do it in groups. And what I want to offer you is this group offering that I've created where we go through each week as a team. I'm looking for a collective of maybe, I don't know, I, I'm trying to call in the right souls for this because I'm asking for a commitment actually for people who want to really dive deep into themselves and into the keys and really integrate the keys as the living wisdom that they are so that they can always have them like within them. Because one of the words I use is psychotechnology. And that's when, you know, ideas like a system like Gene Keys, human design, Enneagram especially, they live in the mind. It's a technology, but when you integrate them into the body, it becomes a psychotechnology that supports you, and you kind of see the world through them, and it helps you grow and navigate. It's kind of like upgrading your sense making system so that you can make sense of the world in a more enlightened way. That's what I found. And so you can, with the Enneagram especially, that helps a lot with recognizing shadows. And Gene Keys is beautiful for recognizing the higher states. And human design and the work that I do is great for recognizing the general mechanics about shadow, how we work, and our pathways for growth. Um, so yeah, I will finish there, but I'm offering initiations with this work. Um, and next week we'll be doing, this was going to be the start of the paid container. So the invitation is if people are feeling aligned to join me and contribute, which is going to contribute to the continued growth of the Shadow Keys as a work. I'm full time on this. I do side stuff as well, not it's not really side. I'm a healer and a shaman and still offer those services, healing people, helping people align to their truth, their soul, their purpose, and teaching them in that. Um, but the main passion is to bring this about and to actually actualize it. And so part of that is receiving funding and ideally through resonant souls who actually want to follow along with the teaching and who resonate with me and what I'm sharing and want to go deeper with the keys. Also, very much in line with Gene Keys and human design. I don't conflict with them. I work with them. Definitely companions. Um, and so just a quick overview of what the course would be 64 powerful transmissions like today over 52 weeks. So it's a lot. So it's going to be a healing, growth, expansion experience. A lot is going to be activated. It's going to be deep, but it's also going to be a very safe container. And I can guarantee that because I'm a healer and I care about safety. And so that's why there's not going to be too many people. It's going to be a contained experience where you're going to feel supported and you're going to grow and expand a lot. But the most important thing is like, I've done a lot of growth and expansion without support. And I'll be honest, it's dangerous. It's not safe. And so safety is actually a core tenet of mine as a teacher and a healer. I teach about safety and I talk about it in several of the keys. A lot of the type 6 in the Enneagram and 57 key. I talk about safety a lot, and it's a big part of the teaching. And it's like when we're growing and expanding and creating new identity, it can be quite destabilizing for our old identity and our not self, our old self. And so that can feel unsafe. And when we're unsafe, we can do reckless things or we don't care for ourselves sometimes. And so I want to hold a safe container for people's evolution. If they're ready to jump in a container, which is an activating, evolving kind of experience, very expansive, but I want to make sure it's safe. So it will be very safe. And you will have the support of myself and others in the container for sharing what you're going through. Sometimes it's enough just to share what you're going through to know that other people you can tune in every week and just share what's going on. And you'll have a private space as well to share that online and just share what's going through your week. And there's going to be encouragement to share stories, revelations that we're going through and activations, whatever's happening, it's all going to be shared and it's all going to be fun. And you know what? It's going to be deeply explorative for me. And I know that I'm going to receive everything I need to write the Shadow Keys book or the first book after this. So this is part of my growth as well. So it's going to be student, teacher, teacher, student. We're all going to be doing it for each other. So as I said, this is going to be exclusive before I write the course. Transmission straight from me. A lot of it's going to be new stuff. And as I said, I'm big on embodiment. So I didn't tell you about my journey, but I have had enlightened transcendent states where I've left the body. And, you know, Buddha was kind of my guru for a while. But for me, that was only halfway there. That was only part of the journey. A big part of my journey the last few years is coming back down. Is like, what does it mean to be embodied in the world? And so it's not being up in the head and enjoying these higher chakras. It's also integrating the lower chakras, which means power, strength, capacity to meet the world, the capacity to change the world, actually, and to be a force of positive change in the world. And if you've got line 6 or 5 or 6, I would argue that that's part of your destiny. If you're a line 5 or 6, you're here to enact change in the world. And that can be deeply terrifying for many of us on the path of light and the path of service, right? So much of our body is afraid or ashamed to really fully express and really to create impact on the world. And so that's why I want to bring the light of these keys in to the body and really embody, especially the strength, some of these keys, associated with Enneagram 8 and some other keys, but especially the 8, it's a lot about solidity, being very strong, and Enneagram 1. The 34 is one powerful example, right? It's about, what's another good one? 21, 51 could be another, like strong keys. And what does it mean? Because the 8 doesn't want to, their identity is solid. It doesn't crumble under adversity. They don't self-abandon themselves when they get challenged. They don't run away. They stay strong. If they're in their truth, they stay in it. And so that means cultivating and integrating the strength of the Enneagram 8, which is important if you're a line 5. So, and if you're a line 6, that's integrating Enneagram type 1 and type 9. And so that's commitment to your values, standing to the truth and being able to speak the truth of what you believe deeply, what you know to be true. And that could be scary. So there will be opportunities to step into your truth and to align to your desires and accountability within the group to help you do that. So as I said, experiences like you've had today, to feel the aliveness in your body, to invite in the light, and to move from shadow to light. So every week we will be doing that and receiving the gifts inherent in our body, in our design. And so this is not a replacement for therapy, but it is, you could use this for your own personal therapy. Yes, Lisa.
I wanted to ask, like, is there an option to, for instance, meet you for this for once a month only, like a lighter version of this?
Once a month. Well, look,
Yes.
I'm here for my audience, for people who are resonant with the work. I'm not going to exert my will about what I want exactly. I'm here to serve, really, with this work. And so if you tell me that's something you want, I'm going to seriously consider that. I'm going to ask the community about what they want, because I really want to launch this, and you know, I want the right people to attend. So if that's you, Lisa, I'm going to hear about that. I'm going to seriously consider that and ask others about what kind of commitment. Like maybe 52 is too much for some, but I know some others will be in for the weekly check-in and to follow along with the stars and to know each one. So I'll think about that seriously, but thank you for that contribution.
If it could be possible that you have like two journeys at the same time, like one for the very committed ones and the lighter version for the lazier ones.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's to be supported in the group with your soul purpose. As I said, you're going to be activated on this journey. And so hopefully things like your soul purpose will come into alignment if you're ready for it. And you can be held accountable to stepping into that. And you can even hopefully find your shadow key. Like I had my shadow key with the 29 to the 46. That was my key. And I engaged in life in an initiatory journey and transformed that. And this container will hold any keys that you're wanting to step into and hold you accountable through your initiation, whether that's a few weeks, like it is for the 41 to the 30, or a few months, as some of them will be, or even longer. So whatever one that you feel called to, and you should only do one or two a year. These things are very, 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 very powerful. I'm serious about that. When you commit with a full heart to this initiation portal, such as the 41 to 30 or other ones which are even more powerful, you're guaranteed transformation. You're guaranteed results. If you can stick to it, and I can teach the methodology around receiving. You don't choose what you're going to do with your head. You trust the inspiration, and you take very intentional, inspired action for that period, and it's immensely transformational, positively. And yeah, I just want more people like Richard is teaching contemplation, and they've got that Three Flames app where we have people all around the world pausing at the same time, which is phenomenal, right? He's teaching slowness, patience, stillness, right? And I'm kind of offering the opposite to that in many ways, some of which I've not talked about, but I want everyone taking inspired action at the same time. Not the same inspired action, but their unique inspired action, the gifts of what action steps that they're going to take from their heart, from their soul, and a contribution to the whole. I believe when we're coming from our heart and soul, it is a contribution to the whole. It's how we work together in unity as a collective. And so I want people to trust themselves enough to take that, what may feel like risky action, to leave behind security and be daring enough to step into their full strength, their power, their commitment, their love of life, and their desire to manifest their dream and their potential. That's what I love for Earth. If we're all doing that, we'd be transforming the world rapidly in a great way. You know, not ego domination, soul inspiration. So, lastly, compassionate healing advice, support with whatever you're going through. You have a community to drop into. I want to build community. And yeah, I can promise this is a low cost. I'm not going to share the cost right now, but I want a feel of people are genuinely interested, it's very reasonable. But I want people to contact me if they're interested in going on weekly journey with me primarily, but also in general to finding out more about these keys and doing deep dives just like the 41 every single week. Yeah. And because who knows what's gonna, I don't even know what's gonna come through, but I'm committed to this yearly task. And I'm excited to see what else I share with you and what other somatic journeys will go on and what other channelings or inspirations will come through for us. I hope you join me. That's it for now. Lots of love. Thanks for joining me. All the best.
I want to say thank you still.
Oh, okay, you're there. I saw you pop up on video. Can you say hi? Well,
Yeah. I'm in a hurry. I need to go, but I want to say thank you. I'm grateful for your beautiful meditation.
oh, beautiful. Well, thank you for
Yeah,
showing.
it's my like I wrote you. It's my birthday today, and lots of people are contacting me, and I need to go now. So
Ah,
I was somehow with my attention partly somewhere else, but I saw you have recorded it as well.
yes, I've got the recording this time, thankfully.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and I might listen to it again if you send it. I will be grateful. Yeah,
Sure. I'd love
thank you.
that.
And
Yeah.
I wanted to give you feedback also that during the meditation, I especially could feel this safety quality. Thank you for that. It touched me. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Ilke. That's lovely. Appreciate that. All right.
And
Thank you.
also special to see that there are some other people from Berlin, because I'm also in Berlin.
Wow.
So hi, Kirsten.
That's
Yeah,
sorted.
yeah. So
Love-
we are listening the same rain
Yeah,
here.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for showing up and happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Today.
Beautiful day to all of you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. We're closing up. Any final words, Kirsten?
I'm so full of all that energetic things. I cannot speak. But I'm so thankful, and thank you for this second time for this meditation, this journey from the portal 41.
So welcome, Kirsten. Thank you for your contribution.
Yeah, a lot of thanks.
Yeah. All right. And Lisa?
I'm driving and doing multitasking.
All right. Well, we're saying goodbye now. So any final words before we tune out?
Just big thank yous for your huge presence and for your work and everything you do. It
Uh,
is huge contribution, and wish you success and strength and joy of everything you do. And I'm sure I will meet you again soon somewhere.
Lots of love, Lisa. Talk to you later. Bye, everyone. Thank you. And thanks for
Bye
all
bye.
being in recording. Lots of love. Be well.